Greetings, history enthusiasts, and a warm welcome to our latest deep dive. Today we embark on an unparalleled exploration, venturing back millennia, long before the arrival of European explorers, to uncover the astonishing civilizations that flourished across the vast and diverse American continents. For too long, mainstream global historical narratives have either marginalized or entirely overlooked the immense accomplishments of the complex societies that thrived in what was erroneously termed the New World. Yet, the undeniable truth, meticulously unearthed and reconstructed through decades of dedicated archaeological and anthropological inquiry, is that this land pulsated with vibrant cultures, bustling urban centers, revolutionary agricultural practices, and pioneering scientific, artistic, and philosophical innovations that stand as monumental testaments to human ingenuity. From the frigid, wind-swept Arctic expanses to the dense, humid jungles of Mesoamerica and the towering, majestic, snow-capped peaks of the Andes, diverse populations independently forged magnificent empires, devised intricate writing systems, meticulously charted celestial movements, and engineered monumental constructions and infrastructure that continue to inspire awe in contemporary observers. We're talking about civilizations that, in numerous aspects, not only matched but frequently surpassed their old world counterparts, demonstrating unique and remarkably effective solutions to universal human challenges of governance, sustenance, and spiritual understanding. This isn't merely a dry chronicle of ancient ruins and forgotten peoples. It represents a profound narrative of human ingenuity, extraordinary resilience, unparalleled adaptation, and the boundless capacity for intricate societal organization alongside profound cultural expression. Throughout this extensive narrative, designed to fill our 2-hour journey, we will meticulously examine their daily existence, their elaborate belief systems, their triumphs and adversities, their technological breakthroughs, and the enduring legacies that continue to shape global culture and resonate deeply within indigenous communities today. It is a truly vast, intricate, and utterly captivating subject, demanding our full attention and respect. And I am exceptionally eager to share this comprehensive investigation with each and every one of you. Before we plunge into the depths of this incredible history, I invite you to connect with me and fellow viewers. How is your current day progressing? I sincerely hope it's treating you favorably, perhaps filled with positive experiences and a spark of inspiration. While contemplating your present circumstances, I also encourage you to articulate one specific aspiration for the future in the comments section below. This could be any ambition, a grand personal quest you're passionately pursuing, a small but achievable goal you're diligently working towards, a professional milestone you're striving for, a creative endeavor you're pouring your heart into, or even just a simple personal improvement you're aiming for. Let's collectively foster a space for shared aspirations and positive energy within our growing community. Furthermore, if you genuinely appreciate the content presented today, if you discern substantial value in this type of thoroughly researched, in-depth historical analysis, and if you recognize the considerable effort invested in bringing these complex narratives to light, please consider activating that subscribe button. Your subscription profoundly aids channel growth, empowering me to dedicate more time and resources to delivering even more expansive and enriching explorations. Your support in every conceivable form holds immense significance for me and is absolutely indispensable for the ongoing production of this channel, enabling the continuous sharing of these incredible histories. Now, let us commence our temporal displacement, journeying to the very genesis of human occupation on these continents. Our foundational narrative commences not with sprawling metropolises or intricate state structures, but with the initial human footfalls upon these immense and previously uninhabited lands, a testament to humanity's inherent migratory drive and remarkable capacity for survival. For countless millennia, the Americas remained geographically isolated from the Afro-Eurasian supercontinent, a colossal natural barrier effectively separating divergent trajectories of human expansion and distinct cultural evolution. The predominant hypothesis, long established and widely accepted within archaeological and genetic circles, posits that the earliest human inhabitants originated from Asia, traversing a terrestrial connection known as Beringia. This colossal land bridge linking present-day Siberia and Alaska materialized during the most recent glacial epoch, specifically the last glacial maximum, approximately 26,500 to 19,000 years ago. During this profound climatic period, vast quantities of Earth's water were sequestered within immense continental ice sheets, causing global sea levels to recede dramatically by as much as 120 meters, or nearly 400 feet. This significant geological phenomenon unveiled a vast expanse of land, at times extending over 1,000 miles in width, providing a viable and hospitable corridor for terrestrial migration. This ancient terrain, now submerged, was not a desolate expanse but a productive steppe tundra ecosystem, sustaining a diverse array of cold-adapted flora and megafauna. These initial pioneers, frequently termed Paleo-Indians, were highly mobile nomadic hunter-gatherers, tracking herds of now extinct colossal creatures like the majestic woolly mammoths, formidable mastodons, giant bison, and fearsome saber-toothed cats across this expansive landscape. The Clovis First theory, named after the distinctive, exquisitely crafted fluted projectile points discovered near Clovis, New Mexico, proposed that these individuals, appearing around 13,000 years ago, represented the earliest widespread and culturally homogeneous group in the Americas, rapidly colonizing the continents through ice-free passages that gradually opened in the interior of North America as the immense glaciers began their slow retreat. Their sophisticated lithic technology, particularly their finely flaked bifacial spear points, demonstrated exceptional efficacy for hunting large game, enabling their flourishing in diverse and challenging environmental settings. However, over recent decades, an accumulating body of archaeological findings and genetic analyses has substantially questioned the rigid Clovis First paradigm, suggesting a more intricate and potentially much earlier peopling of the Americas. Discoveries at sites such as Monteverde in Chile, presenting compelling evidence of human presence dating back beyond 14,500 years, and Paisley Caves in Oregon, yielding ancient human DNA and artifacts from approximately 14,300 years ago, unequivocally indicate human occupation in the Americas prior to the widespread emergence of Clovis technology. This has opened up a fascinating spectrum of new possibilities regarding migratory routes and chronological sequences. Perhaps antecedent migrations occurred potentially along Pacific coastal pathways, often conceptualized as the Kelp Highway hypothesis, where early mariners possessing rudimentary watercraft could have navigated the Pacific coastline, exploiting the incredibly rich marine resources of the kelp forests, facilitating rapid southward movement, thereby circumventing the formidable ice sheets. Alternatively, ice-free corridors might have become accessible earlier than previously theorized, permitting inland passage through the North American ice masses at an earlier juncture. The precise chronology, the exact migratory trajectories, and the cultural heterogeneity of these initial population movements remain subjects of intense scholarly investigation, vigorous debate, and continuous discovery, forming a captivating and dynamically evolving puzzle piece within the overarching human narrative. What is demonstrably clear, however, is the remarkable adaptability of these early inhabitants as they dispersed across the most varied landscapes imaginable, from the frigid Arctic tundras to the scorching tropical rainforests, and progressively developed distinct cultural practices, specialized toolkits, and diverse subsistence strategies over many millennia. As the last ice age concluded and the global climate warmed, roughly between 10,000 and 8,000 BCE, the megafauna upon which they heavily relied largely vanished, compelling these groups to undertake further adaptive shifts in response to changing ecological conditions and resource availability. This subsequent period, termed the Archaic Era, witnessed a significant transition towards hunting smaller game, intensive fishing, and sophisticated foraging for a broader array of plant species, leading to a more diversified economic base. This deeper understanding of local plant life and seasonal cycles, coupled with the development of more specialized tools for processing these varied resources, laid the essential groundwork for the agricultural revolutions that would subsequently unfold, fundamentally transforming human societies across the Americas from highly mobile nomadic bands into increasingly settled communities and eventually complex villages and burgeoning urban centers. This transition from mobile foraging to sedentary agriculture represented a monumental leap in human societal development, enabling unprecedented population growth and the emergence of more intricate social structures. Our expedition now transports us to a geographical expanse that truly represents a foundational cradle of civilization in the Americas, Mesoamerica. This vast cultural domain, encompassing central and southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and northern Costa Rica, independently fostered the development of agriculture, sophisticated writing systems, intricate calendrical calculations, monumental architectural achievements, and vibrant urban centers, all without any significant external influence from the Old World. In contrast to the Old World, where the domestication of grains like wheat and barley formed the agricultural bedrock, Mesoamerica's societal evolution revolved around the cultivation of maize or corn alongside beans and squash, a remarkably nutritious and ecologically complementary combination frequently termed the Mesoamerican triad. This exceptionally productive agricultural foundation facilitated sedentary lifestyles, exponential population growth, and ultimately the genesis of some of the most iconic pre-Columbian civilizations. The shared cultural traits pervading this extensive region, despite considerable political fragmentation and linguistic diversity, included a profound veneration for the feathered serpent deity, the ubiquitous practice of the Mesoamerican ballgame, a cyclical and often fatalistic perception of time, and an elaborate cosmology that intricately intertwined the human and divine realms, frequently involving ritual sacrifice as a means of maintaining cosmic balance. The extensive trade networks facilitating the exchange of valuable commodities like obsidian, jade, cacao, and exotic feathers also significantly fostered cultural diffusion and intense interaction across this dynamic region, leading to a rich interchange of ideas, technologies, and artistic expressions. Our initial major destination within Mesoamerica is the Olmec civilization, frequently revered as the mother culture of Mesoamerica, flourishing primarily between 1400 and 400 BCE in the tropical lowlands of south-central Mexico, specifically within the modern states of Veracruz and Tabasco. The Olmec represent the earliest major civilization in Mesoamerica to develop many of the sophisticated features that would subsequently define more renowned cultures, thereby establishing crucial precedents for urban planning, monumental art, and complex religious iconography. They were master engineers and adept at large-scale public works, constructing vast ceremonial centers characterized by immense earthen mounds, expansive plazas, and sophisticated drainage systems, demonstrating remarkable foresight in urban planning for their challenging, often swampy environment. Their most celebrated archaeological sites include San Lorenzo, Tenochtitlan, La Venta, and Tres Zapotes, each representing distinct chronological phases of Olmec prominence and showcasing unique architectural and artistic styles, yet consistently sharing common underlying cultural principles and a recognizable artistic canon. San Lorenzo, active from approximately 1400 to 900 BCE, served as the earliest Olmec center, exhibiting impressive urban planning for its era. It featured artificial terraces, an elaborate water system incorporating carved basalt drains and reservoirs, and an impressive array of monumental basalt sculptures, including some of the earliest colossal heads. Following its decline, La Venta ascended to prominence, thriving from about 900 to 400 BCE. La Venta is particularly distinguished by its colossal earthen pyramid, widely considered one of the earliest pyramidal structures in Mesoamerica, reaching over 30 meters in height, and for its rich votive offerings of jade and serpentine, including elaborate mosaic pavements meticulously buried deep beneath the earth, possibly depicting jaguar masks or other sacred symbols, suggesting ritual burial of significant offerings dedicated to earth deities. This site also uniquely featured a distinctive fluted cone mound, unparalleled in Mesoamerican architecture, speculated to represent a volcano or a sacred mountain, reflecting their profound connection to the natural environment. What truly distinguishes the Olmec and renders them instantly recognizable are their monumental basalt sculptures, especially the colossal heads. These immense sculptures, weighing up to 50 tons and standing over 3 meters tall, portray individualized human faces, frequently adorned with distinctive helmet-like headgear, suggesting they represent powerful rulers or elite ball players. The basalt stone was meticulously quarried from distant volcanic mountains, sometimes located over 100 kilometers away, and transported many kilometers, most likely by raft across rivers and then by immense human labor over land, utilizing sophisticated rollers and sledges to the Olmec centers. This extraordinary feat of logistics and labor mobilization stands as a profound testament to their organizational capabilities, engineering ingenuity, and the centralized authority structure capable of commanding such extensive resources and manpower. Each head exhibits unique facial features, strongly suggesting they were indeed individualized portraits of specific historical personages, perhaps commemorating their reigns, serving as enduring symbols of their power, or even marking specific lineage groups. Beyond the iconic colossal heads, the Olmec produced exquisite jade carvings, often depicting figures with jaguar-like features known as were-jaguars, reflecting their deep reverence for this powerful apex predator and its association with fertility, rain, and the mysterious underworld. They also meticulously crafted highly polished concave mirrors from ilmenite and magnetite, which possessed the ability to focus sunlight and were likely employed for ceremonial purposes, divination, or even as practical fire starters, demonstrating an early understanding of optics. The Olmec developed nascent forms of writing, as evidenced by the Cascajal block, which bears 62 glyphs and sophisticated calendrical systems, including the independent development of the concept of zero as a placeholder, long preceding its widespread adoption in other global regions, and a 260-day ritual calendar, which would subsequently be refined and adopted by the Maya and other Mesoamerican peoples, thereby demonstrating a shared intellectual heritage. Their intricate religious beliefs revolved around a pantheon of deities, encompassing a rain god, a maize god, and the feathered serpent, a potent motif that would recur throughout Mesoamerican art and religion for millennia, underscoring the enduring influence of Olmec cosmology. The Olmec established extensive trade networks, facilitating the exchange of obsidian, jade, and other precious commodities over long distances, thereby spreading their cultural influence far beyond their heartland. The eventual decline of the Olmec around 400 BCE remains incompletely understood, but environmental shifts, such as changes in river courses or volcanic activity impacting agricultural lands, internal social conflicts, or alterations in key trade routes, may have contributed to their wane. Despite their eventual decline, their pioneering innovations established the foundational blueprint for subsequent Mesoamerican civilizations, solidifying their status as truly the mother culture, from which numerous later traditions sprang and evolved, including their distinctive art style, religious concepts, and political organizational principles. Following the Olmec's influence, various regional cultures began to flourish and independently develop their own distinct identities, frequently building upon Olmec foundations while adapting them to their specific ecological niches. One such profoundly important civilization was the Zapotec, who emerged in the Oaxaca Valley of southern Mexico. Their principal urban and ceremonial center was Monte Alban, a truly magnificent site strategically positioned atop a flattened mountaintop overlooking the valley, affording both formidable defensive advantages and commanding symbolic prominence, effectively dominating the surrounding landscape. Monte Alban rose to prominence around 500 BCE and sustained its flourishing for over a millennium, becoming one of the earliest true urban centers in Mesoamerica, controlling an extensive network of smaller settlements in the valley below and wielding significant regional power through a complex political structure. The Zapotec were trailblazers in urban planning and monumental construction, meticulously carving and constructing elaborate plazas, towering pyramids, and grand palaces on their hilltop capital, frequently employing cut stone masonry. They developed one of the earliest writing systems in Mesoamerica, distinct from the Olmec, characterized by glyphs representing both sounds and concepts, which they meticulously inscribed on stone monuments, stelae, and within their elaborate tombs, thereby providing invaluable historical records and profound insights into their dynastic lineages and political events. They also possessed a sophisticated calendar system, precisely tracking both ritual and solar cycles, a capability essential for agricultural planning and the accurate timing of religious ceremonies. Their renowned danzantes, or dancers' carvings, at Monte Alban depict figures in contorted positions, often interpreted as sacrificed captives or vanquished enemies, offering chilling insight into their practices of warfare, ritual, and political dominance over neighboring polities. Some scholars alternatively suggest these figures might represent individuals suffering from disease or performing ritual dances. The Zapotec also pioneered advanced agricultural techniques, including extensive terracing on the mountain slopes, and sophisticated irrigation systems in the valley designed to sustain their growing population and ensure reliable food production in a semi-arid environment. They maintained extensive trade networks, exchanging goods like pottery, obsidian, and cotton, and exerted significant political and cultural influence over the surrounding region, functioning as a powerful regional state. Monte Alban eventually experienced a decline around 800 CE, possibly attributable to internal strife, environmental pressures such as deforestation and soil erosion, or shifts in regional power dynamics, leading to the rise of new centers within the valley. Despite its eventual abandonment, the Zapotec people continued to thrive in other areas of Oaxaca, leaving an enduring legacy in the region's vibrant cultural landscape, with their descendants still speaking Zapotec languages today. Their elaborate tombs, often featuring painted murals and intricate funerary urns depicting deities and ancestors, provide further profound insights into their beliefs about the afterlife and their deep reverence for ancestral figures. As the Zapotec civilization flourished in Oaxaca, another monumental and deeply enigmatic civilization was simultaneously ascending in the central highlands of Mexico, Teotihuacan. This truly mysterious city, whose evocative name translates to the place where the gods were created in Nahuatl, a designation bestowed upon it by the later Aztecs, was not constructed by the Aztecs themselves, but it profoundly influenced them and numerous other Mesoamerican cultures becoming a legendary and revered site. Teotihuacan emerged around 100 BCE and reached its zenith between 150 and 650 CE, becoming one of the largest and most powerful cities in the world at its peak, with a population estimated at over 100,000 to 200,000 people, making it one of the six largest urban centers globally during its time, comparable in scale to ancient Rome or Alexandria. Its far-reaching influence extended across Mesoamerica, solidifying its position as a true economic, political, and cultural superpower of its era, a dynamic hub of innovation and extensive trade. The sheer scale, meticulous planning, and architectural grandeur of Teotihuacan are truly breathtaking. Its urban core was meticulously laid out on a precise grid system, oriented to specific astronomical events, particularly the setting sun on key dates, demonstrating sophisticated astronomical knowledge and advanced urban engineering. This monumental grid plan was centered around the magnificent Avenue of the Dead, a wide, imposing thoroughfare stretching for kilometers, flanked by colossal pyramids, temples, and vast residential compounds. The two most prominent structures are the Colossal Pyramid of the Sun, one of the largest pyramids in the world by volume, constructed over a natural cave system believed to be a sacred place of origin and a symbolic portal to the underworld, and the Pyramid of the Moon, which mirrors the shape of the mountain behind it, creating a visual harmony with the natural landscape. These immense pyramids were not royal tombs, but rather sacred mountains, dedicated to powerful deities and cosmic forces, serving as focal points for massive public ceremonies and rituals involving thousands of participants. The Pyramid of the Sun, built in a single colossal construction phase, was precisely aligned with the setting sun on key dates, demonstrating an advanced understanding of both astronomy and engineering, possibly related to agricultural cycles and the timing of important rituals. Another critically important complex was the Ciudadela, or Citadel, an enormous enclosed plaza capable of accommodating over 100,000 people, which housed the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, also known as the Temple of Quetzalcoatl. This pyramid is elaborately adorned with striking carvings of feathered serpents and Tlaloc, the rain god, showcasing the city's rich religious iconography and distinctive artistic style. Extensive excavations here have uncovered mass burials of sacrificial victims, possibly captured warriors, or elite individuals, suggesting a significant militaristic aspect to Teotihuacan's power and ritual practices. Teotihuacan's influence radiated far beyond its immediate city limits. Its distinctive pottery, particularly its thin orange ware, its unique architectural styles, characterized by the talud tablero, sloping panel, and vertical tablero motif, and its obsidian tools have been discovered across vast swathes of Mesoamerica, from the Maya lowlands to the Gulf Coast, indicating extensive trade networks and possibly even military or political dominance over distant regions, effectively establishing a kind of economic empire through its control of key resources and trade routes. The city itself was a veritable melting pot of diverse cultures, featuring distinct barrios or neighborhoods dedicated to various ethnic groups, including Zapotec and Maya enclaves, highlighting its cosmopolitan nature and serving as a dynamic hub for cultural exchange and innovation. Its robust economy was based on intensive agriculture, particularly maize, grown in surrounding fertile lands using sophisticated irrigation techniques, and the specialized production and extensive trade of obsidian, a volcanic glass highly valued. For tools, weapons, and ritual objects, with Teotihuacan controlling key obsidian sources, the people of Teotihuacan developed sophisticated hydraulic systems, including canals and reservoirs, to support their vast population and ensure a reliable food and water supply, demonstrating advanced urban planning and resource management. Capabilities. The mysterious collapse of Teotihuacan around 650 CE remains one of the greatest archaeological enigmas in Mesoamerican history. Evidence suggests internal revolt, possibly due to social unrest stemming from resource scarcity or elite mismanagement, environmental degradation from overpopulation and resource depletion, or shifts in crucial trade routes leading to the deliberate burning and abandonment of major structures within the city center. Foreign invasion is another proposed theory, though less supported by direct archaeological evidence of conquest. Despite its abrupt collapse, Teotihuacan's legacy was immense and enduring. Its architectural innovations, religious concepts, and urban planning principles continued to inspire subsequent Mesoamerican civilizations, including the Toltec and the Aztec, who revered Teotihuacan as a sacred mythical place of creation, a city built by gods and a source of ancient wisdom. The city's enduring ruins stand as a silent testament to a powerful, sophisticated, and enigmatic civilization whose true identity and ultimate fate are still being unraveled by archaeologists today, offering tantalizing clues about the complex dynamics of the rise and fall of complex societies. From the Central Highlands, our expedition now guides us southeast into the lush rainforests, fertile river valleys, and misty highlands of what is now southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador, the heartland of the Maya civilization. The Maya were not a monolithic unified empire, but rather a dynamic collection of independent city-states, bound by a common culture, a shared language family, and deeply intertwined religious beliefs. Their history spans an astonishingly long period from the pre-classic c. 2000 BCE, 250 CE, through the classic c. 250, 900 CE, and into the post-classic c. 900, 1500s CE periods, each marked by distinct developments, transformations, and regional variations, showcasing a remarkable continuity of cultural traditions despite political fragmentation and shifting power centers. The pre-classic period witnessed the emergence of the first complex Maya societies, with early urban centers like El Mirador in Guatemala, which boasted massive pyramids like La Danta, a structure that rivals the size of later classic Maya structures, and even the Great Pyramid of Giza in terms of sheer volume, indicating early monumental construction capabilities and a sophisticated labor organization. This period laid the essential groundwork for the explosion of cultural achievements that characterized the classic period, including the development of early writing and calendrical systems, as seen in sites like San Bartolo, with its vibrant and remarkably preserved murals depicting creation myths and the maize god, offering crucial insights into early Maya cosmology and artistic conventions. Other early centers, like Nakbe, also show compelling evidence of large-scale construction, complex social organization, and early forms of hieroglyphic writing, demonstrating the deep roots of Maya civilization. The classic Maya period is widely considered the golden age of Maya civilization. This was a time of unprecedented intellectual and artistic flourishing. Cities like Tikal, Palenque, Copan, Calakmul, and Yaxchilan rose to immense prominence, each with its own powerful ruling dynasty and distinct architectural style. These cities were not merely ceremonial centers, but bustling urban hubs with intricate residential complexes, expansive marketplaces, and sophisticated infrastructure, including vast reservoirs for water storage, complex drainage systems, and elevated causeways connecting different parts of the city and even neighboring settlements, demonstrating advanced urban planning specifically adapted for tropical environments. Intense rivalries and what scholars term Star Wars between major powers like Tikal and Calakmul shaped the political landscape, often leading to shifting alliances, periods of prolonged conflict, and the rise and fall of powerful dynasties, all meticulously recorded in their hieroglyphic texts on stelae and altars, providing an unparalleled historical record of their political machinations and military campaigns. The Maya were unparalleled in their intellectual achievements. They developed the most sophisticated writing system in the Americas, a complex hieroglyphic script that combined logograms, word signs, and phonetic syllables. This allowed them to record their history, the genealogies and accomplishments of their divine rulers, astronomical observations, and religious texts on stelae, carved stone monuments, altars, temple, walls, pottery, and codices made from bark paper. The decipherment of this script, a monumental task achieved primarily in the late 20th century by scholars like Linda Sheila and David Stewart, has been one of the greatest archaeological breakthroughs, finally giving voice to the ancient Maya and allowing us to read their own accounts of their past, revealing a rich tapestry of political intrigue, warfare, and profound religious devotion. This was a true breakthrough in understanding their worldview. Their understanding of mathematics was equally profound. They independently developed the concept of zero as a positional placeholder, long before it was widely used in Europe, and employed a vigesimal or base 20 numeral system. This mathematical prowess was crucial for their incredibly accurate astronomical observations and calendrical calculations. The Maya developed several interconnected calendars, including the 260-day Tzolk'in, sacred calendar, the 365-day Hab, Hipsi, civil calendar, and the long count calendar, which tracked vast cycles of time and was used to date historical events with incredible precision, sometimes millions of years into the past or future, demonstrating a deep fascination with time itself. Their astronomical observatories, like El Caracol at Chichen Itza, allowed them to predict solar and lunar eclipses, track the movements of planets like Venus with remarkable accuracy, and align their architecture with celestial events, reflecting their deep connection to the cosmos and their belief in the cyclical nature of time and destiny. Maya society was highly stratified, with a divine king or Kuhulajau at the apex, believed to be a living conduit between the human and divine, realms responsible for maintaining cosmic order and ensuring agricultural fertility. Below the king were powerful nobles who served as administrators and military leaders, influential priests who interpreted omens and conducted elaborate rituals, skilled warriors, talented artisans, meticulous scribes who recorded history, and a large agricultural population who formed the backbone of society. Warfare was endemic among the city-states, often fought for captives, tribute, and political dominance, as vividly depicted in their art and hieroglyphic texts, with battles and royal captures being common themes, sometimes leading to the complete subjugation of one city by another and the erection of victory stelae, proclaiming the triumph of one ruler over another. Religion permeated every aspect of Maya life. They worshipped a vast pantheon of gods and goddesses associated with natural forces, celestial bodies, and specific aspects of human existence as detailed in sacred texts like the Popol Vuh, the Quiche Maya creation myth, which recounts the creation of the world and humanity from maize. Rituals, including elaborate bloodletting by rulers and elites, often involving piercing their tongues or genitals with stingray spines or obsidian blades to offer their own blood to the gods, and human sacrifice were central to maintaining cosmic order, ensuring agricultural fertility, and appeasing the deities. The Mesoamerican ball game, played in specially constructed eye-shaped courts, was not merely a sport, but a deeply ritualistic event, often with high stakes, sometimes even involving the sacrifice of the losing team's players, or perhaps even the winning team as an honor, to ensure the sun's continued movement and the cosmic balance, symbolizing the perpetual struggle between opposing forces in the cosmos. The classic Maya collapse, which occurred around 800–900 CE in the southern lowlands, is another great mystery of Mesoamerican archaeology, a complex and intensely debated topic. Many of the major cities were abandoned, monumental construction ceased, and populations declined dramatically. Theories for this collapse are complex and likely multi-causal, including prolonged droughts, evidenced by paleoclimate studies of lake sediments and speleothems, environmental degradation due to overpopulation and deforestation leading to soil erosion and reduced agricultural yields, endemic warfare that destabilized trade and political structures, the spread of disease, and internal social unrest or peasant revolts against the ruling elite. It wasn't a sudden, complete disappearance, but rather a gradual decline and a significant shift in power from the southern lowlands to the northern Yucatan Peninsula. This system's collapse suggests a combination of factors pushing the civilization beyond its carrying capacity, leading to a breakdown of central authority and a period of decentralization and regional fragmentation. In the post-classic period, Maya civilization continued to thrive, particularly in the northern Yucatan Peninsula. Cities like Chichen Itza, Uxmal, and Mayapan rose to prominence, often showing influences from central Mexican cultures like the Toltec, particularly evident in the architecture and iconography of Chichen Itza, with its warrior motifs and feathered serpent symbolism. Chichen Itza, with its iconic El Castillo pyramid, also known as the Temple of Kukulkan, which features a serpent shadow descending on the equinoxes, the Great Ball Court, and the Temple of the Warriors, became a major political and economic power, possibly through a system of shared rule or a confederacy. Uxmal is renowned for its Puk architectural style, characterized by intricate stone mosaics and elaborate facades. Mayapan later became the dominant center, forming a more centralized political structure, though it too eventually fell due to internal conflict. The Maya were still a powerful and resilient force when the Spanish arrived in the early 16th century, and their resistance to conquest was fierce and prolonged, lasting for decades and even centuries in some remote areas like Tayasal, which remained independent until 1697, demonstrating their enduring spirit and cultural tenacity. Following the decline of Teotihuacan and the classic Maya collapse, a new dominant power emerged in the central Mexican highlands, the Toltec civilization. Flourishing between roughly 900 and 1200 CE, the Toltec are frequently regarded as a transitional culture, bridging the gap between the classical period and the later Aztec Empire, serving as a crucial cultural and ideological link. Their capital city, Tula, also known as Tollan, located north of modern-day Mexico City, was a significant urban center, though it never attained the same vast scale or population density as Teotihuacan. It was nonetheless a regional powerhouse, controlling important trade routes and exerting considerable influence. The Toltec are often characterized as a militaristic society, and their art and architecture vividly reflect this emphasis on warfare, sacrifice, and the power of warrior orders. Their most famous structures at Tula are the Atlantean figures, colossal stone warrior statues standing over 4.5 meters tall, that once supported the roof of a temple atop the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl, embodying the strength of their military might and their warrior ethos. These figures, along with depictions of jaguars, eagles, and human hearts being consumed, suggest a focus on military prowess, ritual sacrifice, and the veneration of warrior cults. The Coatpantli, or Serpent Wall, also features prominent military iconography, including skulls and bones, reinforcing their martial identity. The Toltec were also strongly associated with the cult of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent deity, who played a central role in their mythology and religion, often depicted as a benevolent creator, god, and cultural hero. Legend has it that a priest-king named Seacatl Topiltzin Quetzalcoatl, a devout devotee of the feathered serpent, was exiled from Tula and prophesied to return from the east, a prophecy that would later have profound and tragic implications. During the Spanish conquest of the Aztecs as Moctezuma's second initially mistook Hernan Cortés for the returning deity. The Toltec exerted considerable influence across Mesoamerica, particularly in the post-classic Maya region. The striking architectural and iconographic similarities between Tula and Chichen Itza in the Yucatan Peninsula are a subject of ongoing debate among scholars, suggesting either direct Toltec migration and conquest or strong cultural diffusion, and extensive trade networks that spread their artistic and religious ideas across vast distances, leading to a Toltec-Maya fusion of styles and shared cultural elements. The Toltecs' decline around 1200 CE is also shrouded in mystery, possibly due to internal conflicts, prolonged droughts, or the arrival of new nomadic groups from the north, including the ancestors of the Aztecs, who were known as Chichimecs, and who eventually sacked Tula, leading to its abandonment and dispersal of its population. Despite their relatively short reign as a dominant power, the Toltec left an indelible mark on Mesoamerican history, their legacy revered and mythologized by the later Aztecs, who considered them their predecessors, the epitome of cultural sophistication, and sought to emulate their power, prestige, and cultural achievements, incorporating many Toltec symbols and narratives into their own imperial ideology and origin stories, thereby legitimizing their own rule. And now we arrive at the final great Mesoamerican empire before the Spanish conquest, the Aztec Empire, more accurately known as the Triple Alliance, dominated by the Mexica people. Their story is one of remarkable ascent from humble, marginalized origins to unparalleled power in just a few centuries. The Mexica were a nomadic Chichimec group who migrated into the Valley of Mexico in the 13th century, initially perceived as barbarians and outsiders by the established city-states already thriving in the region. According to their foundational origin myth, they were guided by their formidable patron deity Huitzilopochtli, the god of war, and sun, to settle where they observed a divine omen, an eagle perched on a prickly pear cactus devouring a snake, a powerful and enduring symbol that is now the national emblem of Mexico. This prophesied spot was a small, marshy island in Lake Texcoco, seemingly an undesirable and inhospitable location, which they ingeniously transformed into a thriving metropolis. In 1325 CE, they founded their capital city, Tenochtitlan, on this island. Despite the challenging lacustrine environment, the Mexica demonstrated incredible ingenuity and engineering prowess, constructing an elaborate system of chinampas, or floating gardens, highly fertile artificial islands built from layers of mud and decaying vegetation dredged from the lake bed, which allowed for incredibly productive agriculture and supported a rapidly growing population. They also built massive causeways connecting the island city to the mainland, aqueducts to bring fresh water from springs on the mainland, and a sophisticated network of canals for transportation within the city, making it a true Venice of the Americas, a marvel admired by the Spanish conquistadors upon their arrival. By the early 15th century, the Mexica forged the Triple Alliance with the powerful city-states of Texcoco and Tlacopan. This formidable alliance rapidly expanded its dominion through relentless military conquest, creating a vast empire that stretched across much of Mesoamerica, from the Gulf Coast to the Pacific Ocean, controlling an estimated 5 to 6 million people. Unlike the Inca, the Aztec Empire was not a centralized political entity, but rather a hegemonic system of tribute. Conquered city-states generally retained their local rulers and internal autonomy, but were required to pay vast amounts of tribute in goods, labor, and sacrificial victims to the Triple Alliance, particularly to Tenochtitlan. This tribute system fueled the immense wealth, power, and artistic flourishing of the Aztec capital, allowing for monumental construction and a thriving economy, but also generated widespread resentment among subjugated peoples. Tenochtitlan, at its peak in the early 16th century, was a magnificent metropolis, one of the largest cities in the world, with a population estimated between 200,000 and 300,000 people, making it larger than most contemporary European capitals. Its central ceremonial precinct housed the Templo Mayor, a massive double pyramid dedicated to Huitzilopochtli and Tlaloc, the rain god, symbolizing the duality of war and agriculture that underpinned Aztec society. The city was a hub of economic activity with bustling markets like Tlatelolco, where goods from across the empire and beyond were traded, from exotic feathers and jade to foodstuffs and obsidian tools, overseen by professional merchants called Pochteca, who also served as spies for the empire. Aztec society was highly stratified, with the Tlatoani emperor at the apex, considered a semi-divine figure, followed by a powerful nobility, fierce warriors, influential priests, skilled artisans, and a large class of commoners and agriculturalists. There was also a small class of slaves, often individuals who had fallen into debt or committed crimes, rather than being born into slavery. Education was highly valued, with separate schools for nobles, Kalmakak, and commoners, Telpochkali, teaching history, religion, rhetoric, military skills, and practical trades, emphasizing civic duties and discipline. Their legal system was complex, with courts and judges to administer justice throughout the empire, demonstrating a sophisticated governance structure. Religion permeated every aspect of Aztec life. Their cosmology was complex, with a vast pantheon of gods representing various forces of nature and human endeavor. Huitzilopochtli, the sun and war god, demanded constant nourishment through human sacrifice to ensure the sun's daily rebirth and the continuation of the fifth sun, the current cosmic era, preventing the world from ending. Tlaloc, the rain god, was also central, associated with fertility and water, and often received child sacrifices. Human sacrifice, often involving captured warriors, was a central and public ritual believed to be essential for maintaining cosmic balance and ensuring the prosperity of the empire, a profound spiritual obligation. Their calendar system was based on the 260-day ritual calendar, Tonal Pohuali, and the 365-day solar calendar, Ju Pohuali, intricately carved into monuments like the famous Aztec sun stone, which also depicted their cosmology and the cycles of creation and destruction. The Aztec Empire at its zenith was a formidable power, but its rapid expansion and reliance on tribute also sowed the seeds of its downfall. The resentment of conquered peoples who bore the burden of tribute and provided sacrificial victims created a vast network of potential allies for any external force. When the Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés arrived in 1519, he skillfully exploited these existing political divisions. Moctezuma Set, the Aztec emperor, initially welcomed Cortés, possibly due to a combination of diplomatic strategy, a belief in the prophecy of Quetzalcoatl's return, or simply misjudgment. However, the Spanish soon took Moctezuma captive, leading to escalating tensions and eventual open conflict. The decisive moment came in 1520 during La Noche Triste, the sad night, when the Aztecs revolted and drove the Spanish from Tenochtitlan, inflicting heavy casualties. But Cortés regrouped, gathered thousands of indigenous allies from rival states like Tlaxcala, and returned in 1521 to lay siege to Tenochtitlan. The siege was brutal, exacerbated by the devastating effects of smallpox, which had arrived with the Spanish and ravaged the Aztec population, including their new emperor, Cuitlahuac, who died from the disease, leaving the empire leaderless and demoralized. After 93 days of fierce fighting, marked by starvation and disease, Tenochtitlan fell in August 1521, marking the end of the Aztec Empire and a pivotal moment in the Spanish conquest of the Americas. The fall was not solely due to Spanish military might. It was a complex interplay of superior European weaponry, steel, gunpowder, horses, devastating diseases, and the crucial support of disgruntled indigenous allies who saw the Spanish as liberators from Aztec oppression. The legacy of the Aztecs, though tragically cut short, lives on in the vibrant culture of Mexico. Their language, Nahuatl, still spoken by millions, and their artistic and architectural achievements continuing to inspire. Now, let's shift our focus, dramatically moving thousands of kilometers south to the majestic Andes Mountains of South America, home to another extraordinary array of pre-Columbian civilizations. The Andean region, stretching along the Pacific coast and high into the mountain ranges of what is now Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, Chile, and Argentina, presented unique geographical challenges and unparalleled opportunities. From arid coastal deserts to fertile intermontane valleys and high-altitude plateaus, these diverse environments fostered a remarkable range of adaptations and innovations. Unlike Mesoamerica, where maize was paramount, the primary domesticated crops here were potatoes, which originated in the Andes and developed into thousands of varieties, quinoa and maize, along with llamas and alpacas, which provided wool, meat, and crucial transportation in the rugged terrain. The concept of vertical ecology, where different ecological zones at varying altitudes produced distinct resources, was fundamental to Andean societies, fostering extensive trade and exchange networks that connected coastal, highland, and jungle communities, creating a system of resource complementarity and interdependence. Our journey in the Andes begins with what is now recognized as the oldest known civilization in the Americas, the Norte Chico civilization, also known as the Caral Supe civilization, located in the Supe Valley of coastal Peru. Flourishing from roughly 3000 to 1800 BCE, this civilization predates the Olmec by over 1,000 years and developed concurrently with early civilizations in Mesopotamia and Egypt, demonstrating an independent trajectory of complex societal development and monumentality, challenging previous timelines for the emergence of civilization in the Americas. Caral, the most prominent site, is a truly astonishing archaeological discovery. It features monumental architecture, including 6 large platform mounds or pyramids, sunken circular plazas, and residential complexes, all constructed from carefully placed stones and woven reed bags filled with rocks, known as shikra. This innovative construction method provided stability and earthquake resistance, a crucial adaptation in a seismically active region. What makes Caral Supe particularly unique is its apparent lack of pottery and warfare. Unlike many early civilizations, there's little evidence of fortifications, weapons, or widespread conflict, suggesting a more peaceful, perhaps religiously focused, societal structure that prioritized trade and shared ritual over military dominance. Their economy seems to have been based on a sophisticated exchange system between coastal communities, who provided abundant marine resources like anchovies and sardines, and inland agriculturalists who cultivated cotton, gourds, and other crops. The cotton was crucial for making fishing nets, creating a symbiotic relationship where each zone's products were vital to the other, forming a complex economic interdependence without the need for a hierarchical state or extensive military. The Caral Supe people also developed sophisticated textile technology, including the use of quipu, knotted string devices, that served as a form of record-keeping or communication, a precursor to the elaborate quipu of the later Inca Empire. Their complex social organization, monumental architecture, and long-distance trade networks demonstrate a highly advanced society that emerged remarkably early in the human story, challenging previous assumptions about the origins of civilization in the Americas. The reasons for their decline around 1800 BC are not fully understood, but environmental changes, such as severe El Niño events, which bring devastating floods and droughts to the Peruvian coast, disrupting both marine and agricultural productivity, may have played a significant role in their eventual dispersal and the shift of power to other regions. Following the decline of Caral Supe, various regional cultures emerged and interacted across the Andean landscape, building upon earlier traditions and developing their own distinct artistic and social forms. One of the most influential was the Chavin culture, which flourished in the northern highlands of Peru between approximately 900 and 200 BCE. The Chavin are primarily known for their distinctive religious cult and artistic style, which spread widely across the central Andes, influencing later cultures through pilgrimage and the dissemination of religious ideas rather than military conquest, making it a powerful ideological force that unified diverse groups. The principal center of the Chavin was Chavin de Huantar, a monumental ceremonial complex located in a high mountain valley, strategically positioned at the confluence of two rivers, symbolizing a sacred union. This site featured impressive stone architecture, including a U-shaped temple, sunken plazas, and an intricate network of underground galleries and ventilation shafts, which likely created specific acoustic effects for rituals, enhancing the I-Us spiritual experience for pilgrims by manipulating sound and light. The most iconic artifact from Chavin de Huantar is the Lanzon, a massive carved granite monolith depicting a fanged anthropomorphic deity located deep within the temple's labyrinthine passages, serving as the cult's primary oracle and a focal point for spiritual transformation. The art of Chavin is characterized by its complex iconography, blending human, animal, and supernatural elements, often featuring jaguars, caimans, serpents, and raptorial birds, all rendered in a highly stylized, often symmetrical, and deliberately ambiguous manner, such as the Raimondi stela and the Tello obelisk, which required careful interpretation by initiates. These images, found on ceramics, textiles, and stone carvings, suggest a shared religious cosmology and a focus on transformational states, often induced by ritual and the use of psychoactive plants like the San Pedro cactus. The Chavin cult likely spread through pilgrimage, where people traveled great distances to consult the oracle at Chavin de Huantar, and the exchange of religious ideas and artifacts, creating a pan-Andean religious sphere that transcended local boundaries. Shamans and priests played a central role, using hallucinogenic plants to commune with the spirit world and achieve altered states of consciousness, facilitating communication with the deities. The influence of Chavin iconography and religious concepts can be seen in many later Andean cultures, making it a crucial formative period in the development of Andean civilization. The decline of Chavin around 200 BCE is also debated, possibly due to regionalization and the rise of new local powers that challenged its religious authority, leading to a period of decentralization and the emergence of distinct regional styles. As the Chavin influence waned, distinct regional cultures with remarkable artistic and technological achievements began to emerge along the Peruvian coast, often building upon Chavin foundations but developing their own unique characteristics. One of the most vibrant and artistically prolific was the Moche civilization, which flourished on the north coast of Peru from approximately 100 to 800 CE. The Moche were not a unified empire, but a series of independent polities or valley chiefdoms, sharing a common culture and artistic style, often engaged in warfare with each other for resources and captives. The Moche are renowned for their extraordinary craftsmanship, particularly their ceramics. Their pottery is some of the finest and most expressive in the ancient world, featuring realistic portrait vessels of individuals, detailed scenes of daily life, elaborate rituals, fierce warfare, and complex mythological narratives. These ceramics provide an invaluable window into Moche society, depicting everything from elaborate sacrifices and ceremonial combat to fishing, farming, hunting, and even sexual practices, offering a remarkably candid glimpse into their world and beliefs. The stirrup spout vessel, a distinctive Moche pottery form, is particularly iconic and widely distributed. The Moche were also master metallurgists, working with gold, silver, and copper to create exquisite jewelry, ornaments, and ritual objects, using advanced techniques like gilding, lost wax casting, repoussé, and soldering, demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of metallurgy. The discovery of the unlooted tomb of the Lord of Sipan in 1987, an elite Moche warrior priest, revealed a dazzling array of gold and silver artifacts, including elaborate headdresses, ear spools, necklaces, and pectoral ornaments, confirming the immense wealth and sophistication of Moche rulers and their highly stratified society. More recently, the discovery of the Lady of Kao's tomb further highlighted the role of powerful female leaders in Mocha society, challenging previous male-centric interpretations and revealing the complexity of their social structure. Their engineering skills were equally impressive. Living in an arid desert environment, the Moche developed sophisticated irrigation systems, including extensive canals that diverted water from rivers over long distances, sometimes tens of kilometers, allowing them to transform the desert into fertile agricultural land capable of supporting a large population. They constructed massive adobe brick pyramids, such as the Huaca del Sol, Pyramid of the Sun, and Huaca de la Luna, Pyramid of the Moon, near Trujillo, which served as ceremonial and administrative centers. The Huaca del Sol, estimated to have used over 130 million adobe bricks, was one of the largest pre-Columbian structures in South America. The Huaca de la Luna, in particular, features vibrant, well-preserved murals depicting their deities, rituals, and the sacrifice of human victims, providing crucial insights into their religious beliefs and practices, including the decapitator deity. Moche society was highly stratified, with a powerful elite of warrior priests who oversaw both religious and political affairs. Warfare was common, often for the purpose of acquiring captives for ritual sacrifice, which was a central theme in their art and religious practice, believed to appease the gods and ensure cosmic order. The Moche eventually declined around 800 CE, likely due to a combination of severe and prolonged El Niño events, which caused devastating floods followed by periods of drought, disrupting their agricultural systems and infrastructure, and internal social and political instability, possibly leading to the fragmentation of their polities and increased warfare, culminating in their eventual collapse. Further south, along the Peruvian coast, the Nazca culture flourished in the valleys of the Nazca and Ica rivers from approximately 100 to 800 CE, roughly contemporary with the Moche. The Nazca are perhaps best known for the enigmatic Nazca lines, colossal geoglyphs etched into the desert floor of the Nazca Pampa. These massive drawings, created by removing the reddish-brown surface stones to expose lighter earth underneath, depict animals like hummingbirds, monkeys, spiders, condors, and lizards, as well as geometric shapes and human-like figures. Their purpose remains a subject of intense speculation. Astronomical calendars, ritual pathways for processions, offerings to deities, or even markers for water sources are among the theories. The sheer scale, precision, and enduring nature of these lines, some stretching for hundreds of meters and visible only from a high vantage point, are a testament to the Nazca's organizational skills, their understanding of geometry, and possibly their profound spiritual beliefs and connection to the landscape, perhaps related to water rituals and fertility. The creation of these geoglyphs on such a grand scale suggests a highly organized society capable of mobilizing significant labor. Beyond the Nazca lines, the Nazca were also renowned for their vibrant polychrome pottery, characterized by its bright colors, up to 16 different hues derived from mineral pigments, and intricate designs, often depicting mythological creatures, ritual scenes, and trophy heads, reflecting their worldview and cosmology. They were skilled textile artists, producing elaborate woven fabrics with complex patterns and vibrant dyes, using techniques like tapestry and embroidery, often depicting similar motifs to their pottery, showcasing their artistic versatility. The Nazca also practiced cranial deformation, shaping skulls for aesthetic or social reasons, and trepanation, a surgical procedure involving drilling holes in the skull, suggesting advanced medical knowledge and possibly serving therapeutic or ritual purposes. Living in one of the driest regions on Earth, the Nazca developed ingenious hydraulic systems called puquios, a network of underground aqueducts and wells that tapped into subterranean water sources, allowing them to sustain intensive agriculture in the desert. These engineering feats provided a reliable water supply for their crops and population, demonstrating remarkable adaptation to their challenging environment and a deep understanding of hydrogeology. Like the Moche, the Nazca eventually declined, likely due to environmental challenges such as changes in water availability and possibly internal conflicts, but their unique artistic and engineering achievements continue to captivate the imagination and stand as enduring mysteries of the ancient world. Moving back into the high Andes, we encounter two powerful highland empires that emerged after the decline of Chavin and significantly influenced much of the central Andean region, Tiwanaku and Wari. These two civilizations, though distinct in their political structures and methods of expansion, were roughly contemporary and often interacted, sometimes peacefully through trade and cultural exchange, sometimes through conflict, shaping the political landscape of the Central Andes. Tiwanaku, flourishing from around 300 to 1000 CE, was centered near the southern shores of Lake Titicaca in modern-day Bolivia, at an astonishing altitude of nearly 4,000 meters, 13,000 feet. This high-altitude location presented unique challenges, but the Tiwanaku people developed remarkable adaptations to thrive in such an environment. They were masters of high-altitude agriculture, employing sophisticated raised field systems, or sucacolus, which allowed them to grow crops like potatoes and quinoa by creating microclimates that protected against frost and provided efficient irrigation and drainage, demonstrating a profound understanding of their agroecological zone and sustainable farming practices. The city of Tiwanaku itself was a monumental ceremonial and urban center, characterized by massive stone architecture. Its most famous structures include the Acapana Pyramid, a large stepped platform possibly representing a sacred mountain, and the Kalasasaya Temple, with its iconic gateway of the sun, a monolithic arch carved with the image of the staff god, a central deity in Andean cosmology. The precision of their stone masonry, using large, finely cut blocks, often weighing many tons, fitted together without mortar, is remarkable, rivaling that of the later Inca. Evidence from Pumapunku, another complex at Tiwanaku, suggests the use of advanced techniques for cutting, transporting, and fitting massive stones, some weighing over 100 tons, with incredible precision, indicating a highly developed understanding of engineering, geometry, and physics, possibly involving sophisticated levers, ramps, and even bronze. Tools. Tiwanaku's influence spread through trade, religious pilgrimage, and possibly political alliances, extending into parts of modern-day Peru, Chile, and Argentina. Their distinctive artistic style, featuring the staff god and other zoomorphic figures, is found on ceramics and textiles across their sphere of influence, indicating a shared religious and cultural sphere that transcended political boundaries. Roughly contemporary with Tiwanaku, the Wari Empire emerged in the central highlands of Peru, flourishing from about 600 to 1000 CE. Unlike Tiwanaku, which expanded more through cultural and religious influence, Wari was a militaristic state, establishing a true empire through conquest and direct administration. Their capital, also called Wari, near modern-day Ayacucho, was a large urban center with monumental stone architecture and extensive residential areas, indicating a significant population and centralized planning. The Wari developed a sophisticated administrative system, building a network of roads and establishing provincial administrative centers like Pikilakta and Serobaul, which served as regional capitals, storage facilities, and administrative hubs, demonstrating a centralized control over conquered territories and efficient resource management. They were skilled textile producers creating intricate tapestries with complex designs and vibrant colors, often depicting their rulers and deities, and these textiles were highly valued trade goods and symbols of status. Their pottery also shows distinct stylistic elements, often incorporating geometric patterns and zoomorphic figures, reflecting their imperial iconography. The Wari are believed to have influenced the later Inca in terms of state organization, road building, and the use of quipu for record-keeping and administrative purposes, suggesting a continuity of Andean statecraft and knowledge transmission across different eras. The relationship between Tiwanaku and Wari is complex and a subject of ongoing research. They shared some artistic motifs and religious concepts, suggesting cultural exchange and interaction, but also competed for resources and influence, possibly leading to periods of conflict along their borders. Both empires eventually declined. Around 1000 CE, possibly due to prolonged droughts, internal rebellions, or the collapse of their administrative systems, leading to a period of political fragmentation known as the Late Intermediate Period. Their fall led to a period of regionalization, with smaller kingdoms and polities emerging, setting the stage for the rise of the final great Andean empire. Before we reach the Inca, one significant coastal kingdom that emerged in the vacuum left by the Wari and Moche was the Chimu culture, which flourished on the north coast of Peru from approximately 900 to 1470 CE. The Chimu were the direct cultural descendants of the Moche and inherited their mastery of irrigation, metalwork, and ceramics, further refining these traditions and expanding their scale. Their capital city, Chan Chan, near modern-day Trujillo, was the largest adobe city in the Americas and one of the largest in the world, covering an area of about 20 square kilometers. It was a sprawling metropolis composed of 10 monumental walled compounds, or ciudadelas, each serving as a palace, administrative center, and ultimately a mausoleum for a Chimu king. These compounds were elaborately decorated with adobe friezes, depicting marine life, geometric patterns, and mythological figures, reflecting the Chimu's reliance on the Pacific Ocean and its abundant resources, as well as their cosmology. The split inheritance system, where a king's wealth and property were inherited by his lineage group rather than his successor, may have driven the continuous construction of new ciudadelas for each new ruler, as each new king had to build his own palace and accumulate his own wealth, leading to continuous expansion. The Chimu developed an extensive and sophisticated irrigation system, building vast canals that diverted water from rivers over long distances, some stretching for over 80 kilometers, allowing them to transform vast areas of arid desert land into fertile agricultural zones and support a large population. They were also renowned for their exquisite metalwork, particularly in gold and silver, creating elaborate ceremonial objects, masks, and ornaments, including the famous Tumi ceremonial knives with their distinctive crescent blades, often inlaid with precious stones. Their pottery, while not as varied in form as the Moche, was mass-produced using molds, indicating a highly organized economy and specialized workshops, allowing for efficient production and distribution of goods throughout their empire. The Vafosne Chimu established a vast empire along the Peruvian coast, conquering smaller valleys and incorporating them into their centralized state, imposing tribute and administrative control. Their power and wealth were immense, but their story culminates in their conquest by the rapidly expanding Inca Empire around 1470 CE, marking the end of an independent coastal power and the incorporation of Chimu artisans and knowledge into the Inca state, particularly their renowned metalworking skills, which the Inca greatly admired. And now we arrive at the zenith of pre-Columbian Andean civilization, the Inca Empire, or Tawantinsuyu, meaning the Four Quarters. While relatively short-lived as an empire, lasting less than a century before the Spanish conquest, the Inca created the largest empire in pre-Columbian America, stretching over 4,000 kilometers, 2,500 miles, along the spine of the Andes, from a modern-day Ecuador and Colombia in the north to Chile and Argentina in the south, encompassing diverse ecological zones and millions of people. The Inca originated as a small kingdom in the Cusco Valley of the Peruvian highlands. Their rapid expansion began in the mid-15th century under the leadership of visionary rulers like Pachacuti Inca Yupanqui, who is often credited with transforming the Inca from a regional power into a vast, highly organized empire through a combination of brilliant military conquest, strategic alliances, and sophisticated administrative organization. His successors, Tupac Inca Yupanqui and Huayna Capac, continued this expansion, consolidating Inca control over vast territories and incorporating diverse ethnic groups into their state, often through a policy of forced resettlement, MITMAA, to integrate new populations and spread Inca culture. The Inca Empire was a marvel of centralized administration and social engineering. The emperor, the Sapa Inca, was considered divine, a direct descendant of the sun god Inti, and held absolute authority, ruling from his magnificent palace in Cusco, the imperial capital, which was meticulously planned to resemble a puma. The empire was meticulously divided into 4 quarters, or suyus, each governed by a regional governor, with a complex hierarchy of officials extending down to the local level, managing tribute, labor, and justice. To manage this vast territory, the Inca developed an unparalleled road system, the Capacñan, or Inca Road, a network of over 40,000 kilometers, 25,000 miles, of paved roads, intricate stone staircases, impressive suspension bridges made of woven fibers and tunnels that connected all parts of the empire, from the arid coast to the high mountains and the fringes of the Amazon jungle. Along these roads were tambos, or way stations, providing lodging, food, and supplies for travelers, armies, and messengers. A highly efficient relay system of runners called chasqui allowed messages and goods to travel hundreds of kilometers in a single day, ensuring rapid communication and control across the sprawling empire. For record-keeping and administration, the Inca, lacking a phonetic writing system, used the quipu, a complex system of knotted strings made of cotton or camelid fibers. While the exact nature of quipu is still debated, it is clear they were used to record vast amounts of numerical data, such as census information, tribute payments, agricultural yields, and perhaps even historical events, and narratives serving as a sophisticated mnemonic device and administrative tool, read by specialized officials called quipuca mayaks. The Inca also implemented the mit'a system, a form of labor tribute where citizens contributed a certain amount of labor for public works projects, military service, or agricultural production, ensuring the efficient functioning of the empire and the provision of goods for the state. This system, based on the traditional Andean Ailu kin groups, allowed for the construction of massive infrastructure and the maintenance of a powerful army without the need for a monetary economy. Inca architecture is renowned for its precision, monumental scale, and aesthetic integration with the natural landscape. They were master stonemasons, cutting and fitting massive stone blocks with such precision that mortar was unnecessary, creating walls that could withstand earthquakes, a common occurrence in the Andes. Sites like Sacsayhuaman, a massive fortress, complex overlooking Cusco with its enormous zigzag walls of perfectly fitted megaliths, and the iconic city of Machu Picchu, nestled high in the Andes, showcase their engineering genius and their reverence for the natural world. Machu Picchu, likely a royal estate, sacred site, or astronomical observatory, demonstrates incredible terracing for agriculture, sophisticated water management systems, and harmonious integration with the surrounding mountains, reflecting the Inca's deep spiritual connection to nature and their mastery of landscape modification. Other notable sites include Ollantaytambo and Pisac, demonstrating their mastery of terracing and defensive architecture, often built on steep slopes, and their ability to transform challenging terrain into productive land. Religion was central to Inca life, with Inti, the sun god, as the primary deity, worshipped at elaborate temples like the Coricancha in Cusco, which was once covered in sheets of gold, reflecting the sun's brilliance and symbolizing the Sapa Inca's divine connection. Other important gods included Viracocha, the creator god, and Mama Kila, the moon goddess, and Pachamama, the earth mother. The Inca practiced elaborate ancestor veneration, and the mummified bodies of deceased emperors were treated as living entities, consulted on important matters, and even paraded during ceremonies, symbolizing the continuity of royal power and the sacred nature of their lineage. Elaborate ceremonies and sacrifices, including animal and sometimes human sacrifices, known as capacochas, often involving children, were performed to maintain cosmic balance, appease the deities, and respond to crises like droughts or epidemics believed to be critical for the well-being of the empire. Sacred places called huacas could be natural features like mountains or springs or man-made structures, and were revered throughout the empire as manifestations of the divine. The Inca Empire, at its peak, was a highly organized, prosperous, and militarily powerful state, but its rapid expansion and reliance on a centralized authority also sowed the seeds of its downfall. When the Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro arrived in 1532, the empire was already weakened by a brutal civil war between two half-brothers, Huáscar and Atahualpa, vying for the throne after the death of their father Huayna Capac, likely from European diseases that arrived before the Spanish themselves, triggering the succession crisis. Pizarro, with a small force of fewer than 200 men, exploited these divisions, captured Atahualpa through treachery at Cajamarca, and ultimately executed him, despite receiving an enormous ransom of gold and silver. The Spanish conquest, aided by superior weaponry, steel gunpowder, horses, and devastating European diseases to which the indigenous population had no immunity, led to the rapid collapse of the Inca Empire. Indigenous allies who resented Inca rule and sought to throw off their yoke also played a crucial role in aiding the Spanish. Despite their downfall, the Inca left an indelible legacy of engineering, administration, and cultural richness that continues to inspire awe and stands as a testament to their remarkable achievements and sophisticated understanding of their environment and social organization. Our journey now shifts to the vast and diverse continent of North America, a land of immense geographical variation, from the arid deserts of the Southwest to the dense forests of the eastern woodlands, the temperate rainforests of the Pacific Northwest, the expansive plains of the interior, and the icy reaches of the Arctic. While not always forming empires on the scale of the Inca or Aztecs, the indigenous peoples of North America developed incredibly complex and sophisticated societies, adapting ingeniously to their unique environments and creating unique cultural expressions that demonstrate profound ingenuity, resilience, and deep ecological knowledge. In the southwestern United States, a region of arid lands and dramatic canyons, The ancestral Puebloans, often referred to by the Navajo term Anasazi, flourished from about 100 CE to 1600 CE. They are renowned for their distinctive architecture, particularly their multi-story pueblo structures and spectacular cliff dwellings. Sites like Mesa Verde in Colorado, with its iconic cliff palace and balcony house, meticulously built into natural alcoves, and Chaco Canyon in New Mexico, with its massive great houses like Pueblo Bonito and Chetro Kettle, are testaments to their engineering and architectural prowess, often aligned with astronomical events and incorporating sophisticated solar calendars. The ancestral Puebloans were skilled agriculturalists, cultivating maize, beans, and squash using sophisticated dryland farming techniques, such as check dams and terracing to capture and conserve precious rainfall in their arid environment. They developed intricate social structures, evidenced by their large communal dwellings that housed hundreds of people and the presence of kivas, circular subterranean ceremonial structures used for religious rituals, community gatherings, and spiritual practices often featuring a sipapu, a small hole symbolizing the place of emergence from the underworld. Chaco Canyon, in particular, served as a major regional center, connected by an extensive network of roads that stretched for hundreds of kilometers, facilitating trade, communication, and possibly pilgrimages to sacred sites. The purpose of these roads, often remarkably straight and unswerving despite obstacles, is still debated, but they likely had both practical and ceremonial significance, connecting communities and spiritual centers across the landscape. Around the late 13th century, many of the large ancestral Puebloan sites were abandoned, possibly due to prolonged droughts, environmental degradation from over-farming and deforestation, or internal social unrest and warfare between communities. Their descendants migrated to other areas, forming the modern Pueblo peoples, such as the Hopi, Zuni, and Taos, who continue to maintain many of their ancient traditions, languages, and spiritual beliefs, living in similar architectural styles, and preserving a vibrant cultural heritage that connects them directly to their ancient ancestors. Moving to the eastern woodlands of what is now the United States, we encounter the Mississippian culture, a complex and influential civilization that flourished from approximately 800 to 1600 CE. The Mississippians are best known for their monumental earthworks, particularly their large platform mounds, which served as foundations for temples, elite residences, and burial sites, often arranged around central plazas, forming impressive ceremonial centers and demonstrating a highly organized labor force. The most prominent Mississippian center was Cahokia, located near modern-day St. Louis, Illinois, across the Mississippi River. At its peak around 1050–1200 CE, Cahokia was the largest pre-Columbian city north of Mexico, with a population estimated at 10,000 to 20,000 people, and a regional influence extending far beyond its immediate boundaries, encompassing a vast network of smaller towns and villages. Its central feature is Monk's Mound, a massive earthen pyramid larger at its base than the Great Pyramid of Giza, rising over 30 meters high, a monumental feat of labor and engineering. Cahokia was a sophisticated urban center with a complex social hierarchy, extensive trade networks that brought in exotic goods from across the continent, such as copper from the Great Lakes and conch shells from the Gulf Coast, and a highly organized agricultural system based on intensive maize cultivation, which fueled its growth and supported its large population. They also constructed large wooden circles known as wood hinges, used for astronomical observations and calendrical tracking, demonstrating their understanding of celestial cycles and their importance for agricultural timing. Mississippian societies were characterized by chiefdoms, with powerful hereditary leaders who oversaw both religious and political affairs, often residing atop the platform mounds, symbolizing their elevated status. Their art, often found on pottery, carved shell, and hammered copper, is rich in symbolism and iconography, part of what scholars call the Southeastern ceremonial complex, reflecting shared religious beliefs and practices across the region, including motifs like the falcon dancer, winged serpent, and sun circle, all imbued with deep cosmological meaning and often associated with warfare and fertility. The Mississippian culture eventually declined before the widespread arrival of Europeans, possibly due to environmental factors such as climate change, prolonged droughts or resource depletion, disease or internal conflicts, and political fragmentation. But their legacy is evident in the thousands of mound sites scattered across the American Midwest and Southeast, and in the traditions of later Native American groups like the Cherokee, Choctaw, and Creek. Beyond these major civilizations, countless other diverse and sophisticated cultures thrived across North America, each demonstrating unique adaptations and cultural expressions. The earlier Hopewell and Adena cultures, c. 1000 BCE, 700 CE, in the Ohio Valley, were also renowned mound builders, creating elaborate geometric earthworks and effigy mounds, often in the shape of animals like the Great Serpent Mound, primarily for ceremonial and burial purposes, and participating in vast trade networks for exotic materials. The Pacific Northwest cultures, such as the Haida, Tlingit, and Kwakiutl, developed rich maritime economies based on salmon fishing and whaling, utilizing the abundant resources of the sea. They created elaborate artistic traditions including monumental totem poles, intricate carvings, and elaborate masks, and developed complex social structures based on kinship, wealth accumulation, and ceremonial gift-giving known as potlatches, which served to redistribute wealth and affirm social status. Further east, the Iroquois Confederacy, formed around the 15th century, developed a sophisticated political system known as the Great Law of Peace, which united several nations, Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and later Tuscarora, under a common constitution and Grand Council, influencing later American democratic thought, though this is a complex and debated topic. In the Great Plains, before the introduction of the horse by Europeans, indigenous groups primarily hunted bison using communal drives and developed complex social structures around this pursuit. After the horse, a nomadic equestrian lifestyle became dominant, leading to the development of portable teepees and highly effective hunting and warfare strategies. In the Arctic and subarctic regions, groups like the Inuit and Dane developed ingenious adaptations to extreme cold, focusing on hunting marine mammals like seals and whales, or caribou in the interior, utilizing specialized tools like harpoons, and building temporary shelters like igloos and sophisticated kayaks for hunting. In California, a region of incredible linguistic and cultural diversity, groups developed complex hunter-gatherer societies, often centered around the processing of acorns as a staple food, demonstrating sophisticated resource management and technological innovation for food preparation. These examples, and many others, underscore the incredible diversity, resilience, and ingenuity of North America's indigenous peoples, each adapting to their unique environments and creating vibrant, complex societies with rich oral traditions, spiritual beliefs, and intricate social norms, all before European contact. Our comprehensive journey through the pre-Columbian Americas culminates with the arrival of Europeans, an event that dramatically and irrevocably altered the course of history for these civilizations. When Christopher Columbus landed in the Caribbean in 1492, he mistakenly believed he had reached the East Indies, hence the term Indians for the indigenous peoples. This pivotal moment, often framed as the discovery of the Americas, was in fact the commencement of a devastating period of conquest, colonization, and profound cultural destruction for the millions of people who already inhabited these lands. a process that would unfold over centuries and fundamentally reshape the globe. The impact of European arrival was profound and multifaceted. Perhaps the most devastating factor was the introduction of Old World diseases, smallpox, measles, influenza, typhus, and bubonic plague, against which indigenous populations had no acquired immunity, having been isolated from these pathogens for millennia. These diseases swept through the Americas like wildfire, often preceding the actual arrival of European explorers or conquerors, decimating populations by as much as 90% in some regions within decades. This demographic catastrophe weakened societies, disrupted social structures, erased generations of invaluable knowledge, and rendered them tragically more vulnerable to conquest, as entire communities were wiped out or left too weak to resist, fundamentally altering the demographic landscape and power dynamics. The Spanish conquistadors, driven by an insatiable thirst for gold, glory, and religious zeal, skillfully exploited existing political divisions and rivalries within indigenous empires, as devastatingly seen with the Inca Civil War and the Aztecs' tributary states who deeply resented their dominance. They employed superior military technology, steel weapons, gunpowder firearms, and horses to subdue vast empires that relied on stone, wood, and obsidian weaponry. The mighty Aztec Empire fell to Hernán Cortés in 1521, aided by thousands of Tlaxcalan and other indigenous allies who saw the Spanish as a means to overthrow Aztec oppression. The vast Inca Empire succumbed to Francisco Pizarro in 1532, exploiting their internal strife. Other European powers followed, establishing colonies and imposing their political, economic, and religious systems. Indigenous cultures were systematically suppressed, languages were forbidden, traditional spiritual beliefs were demonized and replaced by Christianity, and ancient ways of life were violently dismantled. Forced labor, slavery, and coerced religious conversion became common practices, leading to immense suffering and the loss of countless lives through systems like the encomienda and the mita for mining precious metals like silver from Potosi, which fueled European economies and the rise of global capitalism. Despite the immense destruction, suffering, and deliberate attempts at cultural annihilation, the legacy of pre-Columbian civilizations endures and continues to inspire. Their contributions to global civilization are immense and often overlooked, yet they fundamentally shaped the world we live in today. Imagine a world without maize, potatoes, tomatoes, chili peppers, chocolate, vanilla, peanuts, avocados, rubber, or quinine, all domesticated and cultivated by indigenous peoples in the Americas, fundamentally transforming global agriculture, cuisine, medicine, and industries. Their architectural marvels, from the pyramids of Teotihuacan to the cities of the Maya and the intricate stone masonry of the Inca, stand as timeless testaments to their engineering genius, mathematical understanding, and aesthetic vision. Their scientific knowledge, particularly in astronomy and mathematics, their sophisticated writing systems, their complex calendrical calculations, and their intricate artistic traditions continue to inspire awe and rigorous academic study, pushing the boundaries of our understanding of human potential. Moreover, the resilience of indigenous peoples is a powerful testament to their cultural strength and enduring spirit. Despite centuries of oppression, displacement, and attempts at forced assimilation, many indigenous communities across the Americas have preserved their languages, traditions, spiritual beliefs, and invaluable knowledge systems. They continue to fight for their rights, their ancestral lands, and the recognition of their rich heritage, contributing vibrant and essential perspectives to contemporary society, advocating for environmental justice, and sharing their deep wisdom, reminding us of the importance of diversity and cultural survival in the face of adversity. Studying pre-Columbian civilizations is not just about understanding the distant past. It's about challenging Eurocentric narratives that have historically dominated our understanding of global history. It's about recognizing the incredible diversity of human achievement, the myriad paths to civilization, and appreciating the profound contributions of all cultures to the global human story. It reminds us that civilization is not a singular, linear path, but a multitude of ingenious adaptations, expressions, and innovations that flourished independently across the globe. By delving into these histories, we gained a more complete, nuanced, and respectful understanding of humanity's shared past and its boundless potential, fostering a more inclusive view of world history and a greater appreciation for the rich tapestry of human experience across all continents. It encourages us to look beyond conventional narratives and discover the hidden depths of human accomplishment and ingenuity. As we draw this extensive 2-hour exploration to its conclusion, I sincerely hope you've gained a significantly deeper appreciation for the immense complexity, profound sophistication, and sheer brilliance of the civilizations that thrived in the Americas long before the arrival of Europeans. From the earliest pioneers traversing Beringia to the monumental cities of the Olmec, Zapotec, Teotihuacan, Maya, and Aztec, the engineering marvels of the Moche and Nazca, and the vast administrative networks of the Tiwanaku, Wari, and Inca, these cultures left an indelible and transformative mark on human history. They built societies in diverse and challenging environments, developed unique forms of art, religion, science, and governance, and demonstrated an incredible capacity for innovation and adaptation. Their stories are not merely footnotes in a larger historical narrative, but central, vibrant chapters in the grand saga of human civilization. Their ingenuity, resilience, and profound connection to their lands continue to resonate today, offering invaluable lessons and inspiration for our own time, reminding us of the rich tapestry of human experience and the enduring power of culture in the face of change. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through the pre-Columbian world. I truly hope you found this deep dive as fascinating, enlightening, and thought-provoking as I do. If you genuinely enjoyed this video and learned something new, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow and reach more curious minds, allowing me to continue producing this type of content. And if you haven't already, and you want to continue exploring these kinds of in-depth historical topics with me, please hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support my work and ensure you don't miss future videos. I'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What was the most surprising or interesting fact you learned today? Or which pre-Columbian civilization would you like to see me explore in even more detail in a future video? Let me know. Your engagement fuels this channel and helps shape future content. Until our next historical adventure, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep questioning the narratives around you. Farewell for now, and I'll see you in the next video.